Malice. That's the nothing personal word of the day for Thursday, July 11th, 2024. I didn't think we'd have malice as a word of the day since Malice at the Palace. I didn't think we'd ever have to talk about on American soil a fight between players and fans, but here we are in last night's semifinal in the tournament that everyone's talking about, Copa America, played at an NFL stadium, David Tepper Stadium in Charlotte. A very rough and tough game on the pitch. All of a sudden became a problem off the pitch. This better get plenty of attention because this tournament is staying in the U.S. and the finals of this tournament is going to be right here in Miami at Hard Rock Stadium between Argentina and Colombia. The only thing I was picturing while this fight was happening, and we're talking about a real player going into the stands. This was not some sort of backup player, Darwin Nunez from Liverpool, not a schlepper. Some people are saying they saw this coming. You can't say you can see this coming. There is no scenario under which any sort of competition on the field, on the pitch, on the court, I don't care what it is, I don't care what you're playing for, it doesn't go into the stadium and involve the fans. The next group of people want to tell me, hey, this is what happens. Go down to South America. Go over to England. I've been to games. I agree that there's a lot more activity going on in the stands. There's a lot more vitriol because there's a lot more emotion, because there's a lot more passion. There's a lot more love, affinity, insanity. Don't bring that here. Just because you feel strongly about your team, just because you are in a sport where it's more accepted, if I could even say that, overseas on different continents, is that the look that we want? Does the action of the sport trump the location of the event? Do you feel free to act in a certain way because you would act that way in your home country? So you come here and say, hey, this works for me. It works where I was. Let's make it work where I am. You cannot as a player. It's page 1 of the playbook since Malice at the Palace, and it should have been before even that. It's page 1. You do not go into the stands. Period. I don't blame anyone in the stands. I don't care what they were throwing. I don't care what they were spewing. I don't care how vulgar, racist, misogynist. They could be saying that their mother is a who knows what. You don't go in the stands. Look at this melee. There's stuff being thrown around. There's people, photographers are watching. I'm trying to find the security as they come in. This is an NFL stadium. I'm trying to see how it's getting broken up. Oh, here we go. Now we got some people coming right at the end of the video. The only thing that I was thinking after was what Steve Ross is going through right now. Steve Ross calls up Tom Garfinkel, the president of the Dolphins and of Hard Rock Stadium. Steve Ross is the owner. He says, listen, let me be clear. This is not going to happen in Miami. Call up game day security. Get Miami-Dade and Miami Gardens police ready. Because if you think that we're going to have any fighting in the stands during the finals of Copa America, you got another thing coming. I wonder where he'll send the bill to that. I guess it could just increase his costs for hosting the event, but it may be a pass-through. They may get reimbursement for extra security because if I'm Copa America and I'm running that tournament or I'm part of any foundation, even if I'm running Liverpool for crying out loud, Meatloaf. Wonder whether John Henry got on the phone Hey, make sure we're not suspending him for anything. We need him back. A lot of dirty play during the game. But again, dirty play during the game does not give you the right to have dirty play after the game. I admit on an early morning, here we are live on the Nothing Personal with David Samson YouTube channel. I'm a little worked up about it because I'm scared about it because it brings me back to when I was responsible for this. And I know the people who are responsible to keep you safe. You should not, I don't care where you're from, have to worry ever for 1 minute about any athlete coming into the stands, no matter what. It shouldn't be what you have to worry about. If you are taunting a player, and you violate the code of fan ethics, you get kicked out. That's what you're risking. Losing season tickets, maybe even getting arrested, getting yourself put in stadium jail. It can't be in your mind that you're risking players coming into the stands. It just can't be. I'm pretty sure that David Tepper did not, and his operators were not in any way prepared for this. Their reaction time was so slow. There are questions that there were this is the defense. My families were involved. Stadium security and stadium operations personnel know where players' families are. They know exactly what sections they're in. We get a printout before every single event that shows us where every VIP is sitting, where every visiting ticket is, where the family section is for the home team and the visiting team. When you're at a baseball game and there's families that are being talked to and attacked and given problems, we have extra security there every single game, every time. We don't let it happen. When I've been on the road and there have been fans who've been a little extra aggressive, there's security there loyal to me and our visiting people without a question every time in every stadium, even Philly. It was never a worry of mine as a visiting family or having my family be with me on the road, ever. You think David Tepper? He's not too busy trying to build a stadium and get public money, and he's putting up this event, and he has his operations people in charge. So I don't want to say David Tepper's responsible, but man, he's got to be PO'd right now. But those stadium security people knew exactly where the families were. And if there were issues in the stands with the families while the game was going on, you eject fans who were in any way stopping the families from watching their family members play on the pitch. You don't ever let it escalate to the point where this can happen, where there's even a thing where Nunez says, I got to go in there and protect my family. It can't even be a possibility. We can watch this video if you're watching on live, Nothing Personal with David Samson YouTube channel, or you are watching on the DraftKings network. What we're seeing is the melee, and it really was a melee, and there's no way to know who's family, who's not. What I'm looking for as an operator is, where is security? Where? So far not. They're throwing stuff. They're throwing beer. They're throwing garbage. Where? Oh, now they're climbing in. Here come the players. Still no security. What? There would have been 20 people at Marlins Park around this already when you're hosting an event. And especially, I don't want to say that, Coco. Can I say it? What are you going to do? Charge me with smoking? If you know that you are hosting a game where there is a chance or a higher likelihood of incidences in the stands between fans, you increase your security budget. If you are hosting the Westminster Dog Show, you may secure it slightly differently than when you're hosting Copa America. I can say it. There, I just did. You put security in the upper deck, you put security in the mid-level, and you put extra security near the pitch. This happened right there. If you think for 1 second that you will not see this addressed again on Sunday in Miami, or that there will not be extra security, then you're not paying attention. And trust me, Stephen Ross is paying close attention. I was paying attention yesterday when Kawhi dropped out of the Olympics, I was paying attention to two things that happened that made me smile. One, Kawhi Leonard tried to get protected by the Clippers and by Grant Hill. I'm not buying it for a second. Kawhi Leonard's not healthy. Kawhi Leonard, we were told only 3 days ago by him himself, this is Kawhi Leonard talking. Lying, but he is talking. I was able to turn around over the last 2 weeks, so I'm out here now. I'm having a good time. Does that mean you're healthy or you're just having a good time with your boys? Let's wait. Kawhi's been ramping up for the Olympics over the last several weeks and had a few strong practices in Vegas. I like that. That's like saying a baseball player who's hurt, he had a really good BP. We've got a pitcher whose elbow, he can't wipe his tuchus, but ooh, did he have a good bullpen session? It doesn't mean squat, but it's okay. USA Basketball said he had a few good practices in Vegas. So proud of you, Kawhi. Way to go. But here's how the statement ends. However, Kawhi respects that USA Basketball and the Clippers determined it's in his best interest to spend the remainder of the summer preparing for the upcoming season rather than participating in the Olympic Games in Paris. I'm not a Kawhi hater. I'm just not. I just want some sort of truth because nothing changed over the 3 practices. The guy missed. What is it, Coca? Give me some good stats. Give me something I can work with right now. I believe he didn't play the whole 21-22 season at all. He tore his ACL. I think he played 2 games during the 23 playoffs and 2 games during the 24 playoffs. And now, I'm not begrudging the fact that he's old and he's got bad knees. I'm sorry. It happens. But you're taking a spot in the Olympic team when you know very well your responsibility should be to the Clippers, period. I'm not being anti-patriotic saying, oh, forget America. No, your responsibility is to your team that you have been contracted to. One of the things about Copa and the Euros, and even the World Cup, this is such an unpopular thought I have, but as a team operator, I can't stand it. All these players are gone for so long. They're doing other stuff. In basketball, the offseason is short to begin with, and now you're shrinking it even more. And our team didn't win a title, or our team did win a title. We're either trying to repeat or we're trying to win one for the first time, or we're trying to continue a dynasty or make a dynasty. Meanwhile, we've got players who aren't resting anymore. Players need rest. They say they're working out and they come to spring training in the best shape of their lives and they barely stop hitting or throwing during the off season. And the basketball players are always shooting or playing games, or they're going to A-Rod's house in Minnesota to play some pickup. Whatever they're doing, it's too much. The seasons are a grind. And Kawhi Leonard, paper tiger, you can't play in the Olympics. But you lead us on, you lead us on. I'm great, I'm great, I'm great. Hurt, done. So the Olympics, USA Olympic Association basketball, they had to do something. And boy, did they do it. They did it, and they did it fast. They named Derek White to the team in a snap. Derek White, the NBA champion. Derek White, the one who just signed that extension. Derek White, not the MVP of the finals, that would have been Jaylen Brown. Derek White, not the MVP of the conference finals, that would have been Jaylen Brown. Derek White, not the highest paid player on the Celtics, that would be Tatum. That would be Porzingis. That would be Brown. Derek White was added, and the thought was, this was good. He's a complimentary player. He's exactly what we needed. Of course, if he were exactly what you needed, he would have been on the team to start with. So Derek White's named to the team, and a few people are wondering, what a strange addition to the team. Where's JB? Well, Jaylen Brown did not stay quiet. Bless his soul. Jaylen Brown took to social media. Hell yeah. He was really angry, Coca, wasn't he? Jaylen Brown wants us to believe, and let me walk this through with you. Wants us to believe that the reason Jaylen Brown was not named to the Olympic team was because of a beef he has with Nike. Grant Hill needed to make sure that no one thought that Nike was doing anything because it's Grant Hill's job to make the team. Nike's got nothing to do with it. This is what fits on the team. Guess what? For all of you people out there who think that Nike had nothing to do with the naming of any members of the USA Olympic basketball team, you are living in fantasy land. And I would love it if you would open up a space for me, because my feet are so grounded on earth that once in a while, I only get 65 inches off the ground, and that's not vertical. That's with my feet firmly planted. I'd love to join you in fantasy land. That Nike, the corporate sponsor, has nothing to do with it. They just get a list. Oh, look who's on the team. How terrific is that? Jaylen Brown is the one who last year got into it with Nike. He got into it straight away. He tweeted, "Since when does Nike care about ethics?" after Nike dropped Kyrie Irving. You think Nike doesn't remember that? You think that we didn't keep track of every slight by every player at every moment? You think that people who run big companies don't pay attention to things like that? And to you, it just, oh, like water off a duck's back. What a mixed metaphor. Water off water buffalo's tuchus. Whatever the metaphor is, Jaylen Brown and Nike, not close. When a replacement player needs to be named, or when the Olympic team itself needs to be named, it's almost the equivalent of Isaiah Thomas saying, I wonder why I'm not on the 1992 Dream Team. He knows exactly why I wasn't on. Because Jordan, who was running the team at the time, said, I don't want Isaiah Thomas on the team. And that'll do it. Nike has the exact same power. They can say who they want on the team. Grant Hill has to pretend not involved. Don't worry. Everything's kosher here. This is about as kosher as a ham and cheese sandwich. I'm not upset about Derek White making the team. This is not an anti-Derek White comment. This is not even a pro-Jaylen Brown comment. This is more of a, can we talk about what's actually happening comment? I love that he called out Nike. I love it. Everyone's scared of Nike. I mean, why wouldn't they be? They give you signature shoes. They pay you tens of millions of dollars. They're a competitor in the market where there aren't that many healthy companies, and Nike itself, side note, not exactly hugely healthy. Coco, we didn't talk about this pre-show. Nike just laid off like 130 executives, not lower level people. We're talking C-suite level people, managers, directors, VPs. Nike has been underperforming. They're trying to figure out how to get market share back. They're trying to figure out how to get stock price growing and even approaching index fund returns. They are doing whatever they have to do to cut expenses while keeping revenue up. Not easy. I wonder whether if USA Olympic Committee gave Nike a chance to pull out, get their sponsorship money back, but then Nike would no longer have a say in who's on the team, would they take their money back? If I'm on the board of directors of Nike, I'm probably going to not do that deal, because I'm thinking that you're all so excited about this great USA men's Olympic team that you're going to look at Nike and you're going to say, now I'm going to buy signature shoes because look at my heroes wearing Nike on the court. Ever seen a bigger bunch of horse hockey than that? The NBA is becoming a bit of a juggernaut. They seem to be widening their lead over Major League Baseball in the fight for second place behind the NFL. We've been talking about the new media deals. How long have Skipper and I on Sporting Class with Pablo Torre? New episode next week, hopefully. How often how long has it been, Coke? Is it months? More than months? I'd wait to seize about the NBA media deals, I think. Well, word came out yesterday. They're now finalizing deals, 11 years, $76 billion. $76 billion. Every mediocre player in the NBA was seen yesterday on TikTok twerking with their hands on the ground and moving their tushy. Mediocrity is going to be rewarded in a way that should give night sweats to every single GM or team president. God, do I absolutely despise rewarding mediocrity. But let's not quibble. 76 bills is 76 bills. NBA and NBC is back, and it's official. Amazon's got a package. It's official. ESPN, ABC, Disney, it's official. And there's little old David Zaslav. He's in the corner running Warner Brothers Discovery. He's got Charles Barkley on his back, hopping around saying, hey, I still got a right to match. I still got a right to match. Raise your hand if you're sure. I'm sure. I want 5 days. The NBA is going to finalize the deals. They did something called pencils down. Pencils down is when you're going back and forth in an agreement. You've already agreed to the main terms. Now you're arguing over ancillary stuff that may or may not come up during the course of the 11-year deal. What happens if all of a sudden the world comes to an end and there's no more wood, so therefore basketball can't be played? What will you do for us? Well, we could extend the deal another year for every year where no wood exists in the forest. All right, well, what happens if all of a sudden that wood doesn't allow for bouncing? You get where I'm going? You're arguing about stuff that is never going to happen, and that can go on forever because lawyers at $2,500 an hour are always saying to their clients, David, you got to think of this situation. Wayne, that's never going to happen. David, you never know. It's my job to protect you. All right, ask for it. Oh, we didn't get it. Ask for it again. Stop it. Eventually, the business people step in and say, lawyers, put your damn pencils down. I'm not arguing about something that's never going to happen. In the movie, you cut to 8 years later and the very thing happens, and then you get a grievance, then you get a fight, then you get a lawsuit, and then you get the lawyers saying, I told you so. I've seen it. It happens. So pencils down, agreements, no more tweaking or twerking. Then TNT, this crazy right to match that somehow ESPN did not have under Skipper or did have, whatever the case is. There is some thought that TNT has the right to match a package that did not exist, that they did not have, because there's a rumor they'd love to maybe match the Amazon package. Guess what? All you Barkley, Shaq, and Kenny and Ernie fans, TNT's not matching. The NBA deals will be, as released yesterday, NBC, ESPN, ABC, and Amazon. My wait to see that David Zaslav gave us the treasure map to this moment over a year ago when he said we don't need the NBA. He knew he wasn't retaining the NBA. When Warner Brothers Discovery has started to buy other live rights, it's because he is not getting the NBA and is allocating his resources differently, running a company with tremendous debt that requires that reallocation. He has been putting the trial balloon in our face for 12 months. So the deal is going to get approved in Vegas by the owners, of course. Then TNT won't match, of course. And then there will be an announcement that will make Roger Goodell so jealous. Not about the 76 billion, which is an amazing number. Not about the 11 years. About the NBA taking over Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Wait for it. Saturday, Sunday. Unless we have some change come down from the Mount of Gregor or Caesar, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's every night of the week. There's going to be a national basketball game, a National Basketball Association game. That's national squared. That's national to the 7th. Amazon's trying to own Thursday night. You better get Amazon because you're going to have a Thursday night football game and then you're going to have a West Coast game national. What you're not going to hear during these press conferences announcing these deals. And why would you ever talk about something negative when you can keep saying $76 billion, 7 nights, national games? Because the local TV markets in the NBA are in tatters. The whole Bally's bankruptcy, remember how everyone's saying baseball's in trouble, hockey's in trouble? Those same networks have rights to basketball teams. There are local revenue generated broadcasting for teams that is starting to go away. Bye-bye. Replaced by national money shared. Pay attention, MLB. Shared. You want to look at what Roger Goodell does? They share their broadcast revenue. The NBA is heading there. Major League Baseball, so slow. So many teams. They've got so many Paul Lynns to block that getting a vote of 23 to share revenue, it's going to be damn near impossible because the Yankees, Red Sox, Cubs, Cardinals, etc., Dodgers, even the Angels, no interest, zero interest in sharing with the likes of us or the Guardians or all the teams who are kicking their butt right now. The reason why it's important for the NBA to go for these 7 days is that's the world we're in now. If you've got a way, and you've seen what Roger Goodell has done. Coco, what did you tell me before the show that escaped my mind? The NFL has games on Mondays. This year, because of Christmas or Black Friday or Thanksgiving, they definitely play Mondays, Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays. So that leaves Tuesday, Wednesday. But I think there's Wednesday games because of something, which means that they've got games every day this particular season, except on Tuesday. And I think when the schedule came out, didn't we say that there are teams that are going to play like 3 games in 11 days, some sort of crazy, we don't care about you being concussed type of schedule? The NFL is going to find a way to get to 7 days a week. They're going to find a way. Trust me, it's going to happen. And the NFL goes to 18 weeks, which it's going to, 18 games, get rid of a preseason game, add a regular season game, they're going to make sure they've got 7-night coverage. They are not going to let the NBA rule 7 nights. Meanwhile, if you are a sports streamer or an over-the-air broadcaster or any sort of media company, you're looking at Amazon and you're saying to yourself, they seem to have a plan that's going to work here. They're going to take over. They're going to start with Thursday night. They'll own that day. What if they want to start owning other days? It's got to be one of the biggest concerns as we head over the next decade or two. We've got these deals that are announced, but you always have to think about what the next deals are, both in football, baseball, and basketball. What an amazing strategy. Amazon's not going anywhere. What an amazing strategy for Amazon. If on their network, on Amazon Prime, if they consolidate everything and just buy up all the sports rights so people have to watch every single night of the week, not just if you want to catch a random Yankee game or a random football game, get ready. When we come back, it is Thursday. We get to review one of our top 100 movies, and then we're going to talk about something that happened to Jonte Porter. He is not going to see the light of day for between 3 and 4 years, and we want to update you on that story and tell you why it matters so much. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Nothing Personal. Thank you again for being with me every day, 8 a.m., Nothing Personal with David Samson YouTube channel. DraftKings Network, 10 a.m. leading into Levitard. It's what we've been doing all week. Do this show and then go do Levitard. Hope you've enjoyed that. Great feedback. It's fun working with Pablo and Dominique and the shipping container and Chris and Billy, etc. Still watching a movie every day. I can't wait to review the movie I watched yesterday, Coca. Whoa. Can we talk about Captain Fantastic for 1 second? When I go around and tell people I have a top 100 list, and I say the Captain Fantastic is in my top 50, which it is at number 46, which you can find on davidsamsonpodcast.com, because we don't hide stuff. We don't make you search very hard. We've got our picks of the day, words of the day, wait to sees, movies. They're all there. Total transparency. Viggo Mortensen. Ever seen 1917, Coca? George McKay as a younger, he's sort of an older teenager, but George McKay's in it. The movie is written and directed by Matt Ross, who's someone you may know from Silicon Valley. You may know him from Big Love. I knew him from Face Off. He played this character, Loomis. The movie is about a man who takes his family off the grid when his wife dies. He's in charge of 5 or 6 kids, and they are OTG. And as a man who has spent the better part of his almost 70 thinking about ways to get off the grid and disappearing, this guy did it. Now, granted, there's certain things that I would miss. Plumbing, laundry, running water, toilets. Really, water's the big one. Wi-Fi? Go watch Captain Fantastic. Go watch what happens when they have to go back into the real world, how they interact with it. Go watch what happens when a child wants to see about getting an education, not homeschooled by Viggo Mortensen. The movie is perfect. The performances are outstanding. It's called Captain Fantastic. I believe Viggo Mortensen got nominated for an Oscar for this role. Check it out. So we're reviewing every one of our top 100 movies over 100 Thursdays of our show. One of you made a spreadsheet, and it's also on davidsamsonpodcast.com. And the movie we're going to review next Thursday is Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I just reviewed that during the Live in Chicago show. That was one of my top, though it didn't make my top 5 Chicago movies. It was special mention. If you watch the Live in Chicago show, which was dropped last week, Ferris Bueller is 91. Now I can do a full review of the movie, but I actually did more of an art review of the Art Institute of Chicago and of Syrah and of Pointillism. Go back and look at that show. But we will review Ferris Bueller's Day Off next Thursday. Jonte Porter, formerly of the NBA. Let's remind everybody what the Jonte Porter story is. He's the NBA player who said, hey, my over-under for rebounds is 3 and assists is 4 and points is 5. I'm going to bet the under. And guess what? I'm going to take the opening tip, and then I'm going to twist my ankle, pull myself out of the game, and that's it. The under hits. Way to go, guys. You all make a lot of money. I get my money back. You forgive me, and we've just fixed it. And then DraftKings came around, and FanDuel and all the other companies whose job it is to be helpful to leagues, and they are tremendously helpful. And they said, there's some irregularity here that a lot of people are betting on Jonte Porter's under. Then it was discovered Jonte Porter was one of them. I don't want to make light of this at all. There's nothing light about it. We've covered it by telling you that his action is a red flag and a major problem for leagues to deal with. It cuts to the integrity, not just of the game on the court, but also to the ability for people to gamble on the game and feel like they've got a fair shot, a level playing field. Well, yesterday, Jonte Porter pled guilty. He's going to prison. He's going to get anywhere between 3 and 4 years. And the best he could come up with was, I know what I did was wrong, unlawful, and I'm deeply sorry. I did it to get out from under large gambling debts. I am being treated for gambling addiction. You know where I stand on the gambling addiction treatment, the sex addiction treatment, the alcohol addiction treatment. Call me cynical. The majority of people who go for treatment go once they're caught and they say, oh, I had an addiction. I couldn't help myself. I had to drink and drive. I understand the addictions. I know that we provide support. There is support for players everywhere, inside the clubhouse, outside the clubhouse. There is support for people who are everyday, Monday to Friday bettors in the real world. When we do our reads for our sponsor, DraftKings, one of the reads is making sure you know if you have a problem, we've got people who can help you. It's like you thinking that drug dealers want you to die of a drug overdose. No. We don't want you to ever become addicted to drinking because we want you to keep buying alcohol. We don't want you to become addicted to gambling. We want you to keep gambling. We want you to keep being responsible and living your life. Well, Jonte Porter doesn't get to live his life. He doesn't get to see the sky. He doesn't get to watch Ferris Bueller's Day Off. But he said the magic words. I affected the performance of myself and potentially the team because I had to get out under large gambling debts. And all I pictured was Rob Manfred. Thank God that wasn't Shohei. Thank God that we had an investigation that showed that Shohei didn't do anything. It was all the interpreter. Adam Silver, thank God it's Jonte Porter and not Kawhi Leonard. I've got a slightly different view of that. Jonte Porter is the same as Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, or the number 12 man on your team, the number 15 man on your team. The interpreter, Ipe, is the same as Shohei. It's the same as your bat off the bench. Why? Because what difference does it make to the person who's engaged with your product? Do you not make the leap that if Jonte Porter could do it, then so could the starter? And if Jonte Porter is doing it, then why aren't other people doing it? If the interpreter is betting on women's lacrosse and field hockey, does it not follow that maybe some of the other players were too, all involved in that poker game with those unsightly people in that racket who are all being investigated and are all going to not be able to watch Ferris Bueller's Day Off also? I understand people in debt do things. They start blurring the line. I also understand that you can't just ask your family for money. While Jonte Porter had a brother, Michael Porter's made tens of millions of dollars in the NBA. There's shame involved, embarrassment. There are very many examples of families where some siblings have more money than other siblings, and there's no help given. There's no help asked. Or there are examples where there is help given and there is help asked. But I don't want to criticize Jonte for not asking Michael. I don't want to criticize Michael for not knowing that Jonte had a problem. I want to deal as a consequentialist with the facts as we see them. And the facts are that the NBA now has a player who has acknowledged that he threw himself and threw games to get out from under gambling debt. Jonte Porter's never going to be reinstated, ever. You simply cannot give him a second chance. You have to make an example of him. You have to make it clear that we will have zero tolerance, not a scintilla, not a, oh, he was having a rough time. Parents were getting divorced, death in the family, extra expenses. Nope. Zero wiggle room for any explanation. And for Jonte Porter, as part of his plea of guilty, for him to have this lawyered and workshopped and still say it the way he said it shows you how bad it actually was. Because really, what I would have preferred is him not to have said it at all. Because then it can be left to the imagination by the NBA, its players, and its fans. Oh, maybe he didn't have to do that to get out from under gambling debt. He had to say it to get out from under more years. It is amazing what players will do or say when they're forced to do or say something, when they're found in a pickle, when they have violated either an MLB rule, a league rule, a life rule, violated the penal code of a various jurisdiction. Yesterday, we talked about Wander Franco, the Tampa Bay player. Go listen to yesterday's show. He's FINISHED. IPROMISEYOU. Done. I thought MLB would keep him on the administrative leave list until they decided that the lifetime suspension or the 1 year suspension, whatever, 3 years, whatever they were going to give him. I was totally wrong. Immediately, he's now been put on the restricted list. Let me tell you the difference between the administrative leave list and the restricted list. Every 2 weeks, Wander Franco will now know the difference. NM squared. No more money. NMST. No more service time. All the things that you want as a player, even when you're on the administrative leave list, you want money in service time. Now, the rules for putting players on certain lists versus other lists, you had to come up with a reason. MLB did a great job here with Tampa. I want to compliment them. He's been put on the restricted list for failing to report to the team. Let's not quibble over the fact that he couldn't report. Let's not do that. That's like when someone croaks and saying, man, you're taking too much vacation time. Sir, he's passed away. Take him off the list then. Remember that, Father of the Bride, when they're making up the wedding list? Steve Martin gets told, sorry, that person's off the list. He's dead. Steve Martin says, great, one fewer person. Tampa Bay's got to be very happy he's on the restricted list. He's only getting paid $2 million this year. He starts getting paid way more money next year. And this continues Tampa Bay's path to jettison him completely out of Tampa, voiding his contract. The next step of voiding his contract, people started writing about it yesterday as though it's just something you can willy-nilly do. No. There are ERISA lawyers involved. There's MLB Labor Department. The union is involved. A team does not just send out a press release saying we have voided a player contract. You do it once you have gone through the proper channels, and once MLB believes that it is going to withstand a grievance, a lawsuit, any issue with the union or the courts. There are moments where an owner would say, I don't care. I am not paying this guy. I'm voiding it. And the commissioner could say, you do not have our support here. You're going to fight this on your own. And we would say, no, we don't want to do that. We'd like your support. Please give us your support. So look for that next. What about the Dodgers? We did a whole segment. I think this is it. We do segments and then updates come immediately. I think maybe because of you all. Thank you. More people listen to Nothing Personal in the industry. And we do love that. Andrew Friedman optioned Bobby Miller after yesterday's show. Bobby Miller, the guy I mentioned, is the healthy guy in the Dodgers rotation with the almost 10 ERA, and nobody else is healthy. Guess what? That'll do it. They sent him down. They can't reward crappiness, even though they can't find 5 guys to start. What a great example to show to the rest of your clubhouse. We may have nobody. We may call on the Sioux City 44-year-old politician before we let Miller get another start. Screw that. The guy can't get anyone out. It reminds me like of the postal workers. Neither ERA nor ineffectiveness nor losses will stop me from my every 5-day job. And in comes the GM and president of baseball ops and says, hi, we'll stop you. We're pulling your budget. No more Saturday deliveries. Bobby Miller's done. I don't know what he's going to do at AAA. I guess he's going to have to try to perform well and prove to the Dodgers that he's ready to come back. Do you know what I'm saying as the president, Stan Kasten? Hey, Andrew, if this guy gives me one good start at AAA, bring his butt back. We have nobody. Nothing personal pick of the day. Who's with me? The Nothing Personal pick of the day is presented by DraftKings. Stay tuned because you'll hear more about DraftKings and all it has to offer throughout the show. DraftKings, the crown is yours. We've got the Arizona Diamondbacks, the reigning National League pennant winners, facing the Atlanta Braves, not even leading the NL East. We've got Max Fried pitching for the Braves, and you'd think this is a moment to take the Braves. The Diamondbacks have been mediocre. Well, I think there's trouble in River City. We're taking the Diamondbacks, who are dogs, plus 114. Max Fried's pitched well. Don't get me wrong, but don't be scared. D-backs, not out of it yet. Not out of it yet. Diamondbacks over the Braves. That is the Nothing Personal pick of the day presented by DraftKings. The crown is yours. Yesterday's pick of the day was awesome. Please raise your hand if you got yourself involved, even if you're not gambling, or you could go to DraftKings and you could open an account. Be responsible. But when we go against Patrick Corbin, we don't lose. The Nats lost to the Mets. We are now 89 and 101. We are, I think, 8 out of our last 9. We are starting on the comeback trail. Sleepy Joe, we're coming back, baby. Here's the thing about the Nats and their front office. What are you doing? How do you give this guy the ball every 5 days and make it so that my pick of the day is so easy every 5 days? How is that even possible? Why would you not be designating him? Don't tell me because of the long-term deal. He's in the last year of his deal. I understand he's making 25 large. There's half a season left. You're not willing to bite $12.5 million if you're the Lerner family to give a start to a younger, better pitcher who gives you a better chance to win when you've got a season that's actually going well? You're losing your clubhouse, Mike Rizzo. They see Corbin's name on the board, and they are despondent. I've spoken to players about this. When we would throw a bunch, I love you, Mark Hendrickson, but when you were our opening day starter, the rest of the team was like, he's opening for us? You guys stink at your job. I get it. They're only 5.5 games back of the wild card. They're only a half a game from being able to send out playoff invoices for a rebuilding young team. They've got themselves a chance to get some use of money, of your money, and they're starting Patrick Corbin? Players walk into the clubhouse, and they don't look at the pregame stuff, but they look once they get in and they see who's starting, and they're like, we got to score a 7 spot. And this has been going on for years. It's absurd. So, we have an extra wait to see, Coca. Although I don't know that we've done a wait to see today. I've lost my Patrick Corbin wait to sees, and I'm not giving up. Patrick Corbin will not start a game for the Washington Nationals in the month of September. Not one. Finally, the Nationals will realize they've got to give those starts to someone else. No Corbin in September, so we've got the rest of July and the rest of August to keep going with these picks of the day, and believe me, we will. Maybe he gets the ball every 5 minutes for one reason and one reason only. National owners call up Rizzo and they say, you know what? We're paying for him. Pitch him. Because it's just business. Maybe they don't look at the standings. Maybe they think he's actually okay. Maybe they're afraid to tell Corbin goodbye, even though they've overpaid him completely. This is nothing personal.